Public bodies in Ireland spend an estimated 18.5 billion a year on goods, services and works. It's therefore critical that public sector bodies buy smart and deliver value for money. We act for a wide range of public sector bodies and utilities, and we've gathered some top tips for avoiding the most common mistakes that we've come across in public procurement. I will focus on two areas today: development of robust selection and award criteria, and conducting a compliant evaluation process. In terms of developing robust criteria, the first thing for public bodies to remember is the difference between selection criteria and award criteria. So while selection criteria evaluate the capability of bidders to perform the contract and must be related and proportionate to the size and nature of the contract, award criteria are forward-looking and focus on contract performance, and they must also be verifiable and clearly linked to the subject matter of the contract. And this is particularly important for the inclusion of green criteria in public procurement. So the key to developing robust selection and award criteria is preparation. And as part of this preparation, authorities need to understand the needs and requirements of the business and what is available in the market. And the best way to gather this information is through market consultations, which allow authorities to understand the market, what it has to offer, the number of potential bidders. And that can then inform procurement strategy. The second most important point about the development of robust criteria is clarity. Selection and award criteria must be easily understood by all tenderer. And this means that you should avoid vague language and that terminology when used must be very clearly defined. The next thing to remember is that criteria must be fair and proportionate. So they should not, for example, favor a specific bidder, for example, the incumbent, and they should not narrow down competition unnecessarily, because it is important to have as many bidders as possible to encourage good competition. And finally, there should be no substantial changes to the criteria during the procurement process. We are seeing an increasing focus on social and environmental criteria, and we anticipate that this will increase over time. And the inclusion of these criteria can be complex, but examples include third-party environmental schemes, supply chain management, quality control measures, the use of eco-labels or eco-certificates, and the use of environmental audits for inspections, the use of environmental reports, and life cycle costing. And in terms of cost, and particularly given the high inflation levels we've seen in recent years, consideration should be given to different cost models and not just default to the most commonly used fixed price model. So for example, authorities should look at using risk sharing models or sector-specific indices. When it comes to evaluating tenders, authorities should firstly have clear protocols and guidelines in place to deal with conflicts of interest. So each evaluation team member should be asked to sign a declaration of an absence of a conflict of interest. And the next thing to bear in mind is that the evaluation methodology should be fair and transparent. So that means that it should be disclosed in advance in the procurement documents. Another example is that authorities can, for example, ask for best and final offers from tenderers, but if they intend to do so, then this must be provided for as an option in the procurement documents. Authorities must also make sure that each evaluation team member has read the award criteria and the scoring methodology for that tender and has a clear understanding of them. And then finally, authorities need to make clear that tenders are only evaluated on the information that they have included in their tenders and that they're evaluated against the award criteria that have been published in the procurement documents. But perhaps, and just to finish, the most important thing that authorities should bear in mind when during the evaluation process is that they have to have a clear and consistent audit trail, which demonstrates how they've reached the final award decision and the rationale for each of the scores that they haven't given to tenderers.